Dbms Important Questions Part 2 SQL. This is question number 7. Explain about the set operations in SQL. So here we are going to look into the concept with the examples. So what is meant by the set operations? So set operation is nothing but the special operators which are used to combine. So what is that? It is nothing but the special operators which are used to combine the results of two or more queries into a single result. So I'm writing two different queries and combining them with each other to give me one single query output. So if you are using more than one query, then go for the set operations and combine those and get one single output. So let's try to see how this exactly works with the example. So I can put this set operation definition in other way. So what is that? It is used to combine two or more SQL select statement. So what is the first definition I gave? So this is nothing but the special operators which are used to combine the result of two or more queries. Or I can also say that SQL special operators are nothing but the operators which are used to combine two or more SQL select statements. So if you look into the syntax given below, then you will try to understand. So before that, let's try to see how many set operators do we have. The set operators we have are one union operator. The next one is the intersect operator, or I can say the intersection operator, and next one is the except. So here we are going to look into three different set operations. So what is this union operator? So when you hear the word union set operator in SQL, you need to get one keyword into mind, that is OR. So how is this OR going to work? Let's try to understand. So before that, there are a few conditions that are to be satisfied when you are using any set operation. So call it as union, call it as intersect, or call it as except. There are a few conditions that are to be satisfied. What is the first condition? The condition is they should have same number of columns selected. That means if I am writing my query for the table 1, so here first query, just now I said the operators are used for one or more queries, isn't it? So if I am writing query number 1 and if I am selecting two attributes over here, then my query 2 should also be selecting the two attributes. So this is what the first condition says about. And the second condition is there should be same number of column expressions. There should be same number of column expressions. Next one, the data type that is followed over here should be same. So data type in the sense, so here if my query is about dealing with the attribute which handles numeric values, then my second query attribute should also be of the same data type, that is numeric. Then only the set operations will work. So let's try to move on and see the syntax over here. So what is the syntax saying about? Select the columns on which the operations are performed from, mention the name of the table, and if you are having any condition over there, you mention that in the where, and same way. So this is your query number 1. So next one is query 2, where we are applying. There you have the second union operator. So what is that? Query 2. So now once I write my query, if you observe, your second query is also following the same method of your first one. Once you write both your queries according to the conditions given in the question, you have to combine both these queries using the union operator, or the operator based on the type of operator according to the question. Okay, let's try to see how it works by the example. So here is the example what I have provided. So I have three tables over here. One is student table, reserve table, and book table. So try to understand this example thoroughly so that you can apply all the other operators on the same example with ease. Okay, so what is the question about? The question is saying find the names of the students. So what do I need? The names of the students. So this should be my output, isn't it? So that I have highlighted. Next, who have reserved Dbms? So here I have conditions given. So what are the conditions? Who have reserved the Dbms? That is my first condition. And or OS book. So I have two conditions over here. Condition 1 DBMS and it's not and sorry, or condition 2 is OS book. So here what is the keyword you found in the question or? Then it should be very clear that if I find the keyword or in the question, I have to blindly go for the union operator. So let's try to see how to answer this query. So where can I find the name of the student? So in which table? So name of the student I find in the student table, isn't it? Next, where can I get the reserve data or where can I get the book data? This book data I find in the book table, that is B name, where I find DBMS and OS. Now try to check, is there any link existing between student table and book table? So when I speak about checking of the link, what you have to check? You have to check whether there is any common attribute existing between them. Is there any common attribute existing between them? Check. Is there any common attribute between student and book? No. So what should I do? Now I have to check, go for the table number 3 and check for any linking conditions existing, because you can't combine both the tables without any common attribute between them. Now if you check the reserve table, this reserve table has SID which is available in student table and ISBN which is available in book table. Okay, so now you see this SID is a common attribute between student table and reserve table, and ISBN is a common attribute of reserve table and the book table. So this is how it works, isn't it? So that means though there is no direct link between student and book, but still I have an indirect link existing between student and book through the reserve table. That means in simple, reserve table is helping me to connect both the tables. Okay, now how to write the query? You see, the query is about finding the names of the books. For that, you put whatever you need as output, as I already mentioned in my previous videos, that should be in the select statement. Okay, select S name from. So what are tables I have to depend on? I have to depend on student table, reserve table and book table. All those you mention in the from clause. And as is, so here what did I do? I just gave the nickname to this book so that my work becomes easy while writing the query. So that's why I'm calling student as S, reserve as R and book as B. That is what we have seen here. S dot S name, S dot S name. So this is S dot S name. Next, now what is the condition given there? So the condition is the B name should be DBMS. So that is the question condition, the condition that I bought from the question. So what are the other conditions given over here? These are nothing but just now we have analyzed tables, right? Where we have found first table and second table have the common SID, and second table and third table had common ISBN, isn't it? So that means we have to write those conditions over the where clause so that the link is created between the tables. So that's why I said S dot SID. S dot SID means student.sid, SID from the student table is equal to SID from the reserve table, and ISBN from the reserve table, that's r.isbn is equal to b.isbn, that means ISBN from the book table, and the condition is book name should be equal to Dbms, that is from book B table. Okay, so now all these conditions, condition 1, 2 and 3, the condition, third condition I brought from the question, all these should be satisfied. That's why I'm joining them with the AND operator, and later write the same query. So my first query is over. Now let's go for the second query. What you do is just copy paste the query and replace that book name with OS, because the remaining other section is same, isn't it? Now, so my second query is also over. Now what you have to do, the question is saying OR, that's why add union operator in between. So simple, isn't it? So once you do this, you will be getting the output of only those students who either reserved DBMS or OS book. So all those names will be out as your output. Okay. So now look into the last sentence. The union and intersection operator replaces OR and AND operators. So that's what we have seen now, isn't it? So let's try to see the intersection operator. So once this concept of union operator and the example is clear, we can deal with the other operators with very easy. How to look into that? Let's try to see. So intersection operator. So union operator is OR. Now the intersection operator deals with AND. So if you are having AND keyword in your question, then you have to go for the intersection operator. So that's what it says. The common entries between the two tables can be represented using intersection operator. That's very simple logic, right? When I use AND, the data should be present in the first query and also should be able to satisfy the second query. Okay, so now the syntax is very same as a union operator. Only thing is you have to replace union with intersect. Okay, now let's go to the query. So the query is saying find the names of the students who has reserved DBMS book and OS book. So if I say about AND, then just write the query as it is and replace the union operator with the intersect. Then I'll get all the data which is present, which is satisfying both the DBMS and OS condition. That means I'll get the data or S name of only those students who has reserved OS and DBMS book. Okay, so next query. What is that? It is about except. So what is this except says about? Except is used to represent the set difference, that is minus in the query. This query is used to represent the entities that are present in one table and not in the other table. The key word for the except now is not. Okay, so if your query says find the data of the students who has reserved DBMS and not OS book, then what you have to do, write the query for the DBMS in the first and then use except and then give OS condition in the second query. Just it's all about replacing the elements. So intersect, union should be replaced by the intersect if it is AND in the question, and intersect should be either and it should be replaced with the except if you find not in the question, and just change the conditions. So if the question is about the set different operations in SQL, explain about the union operator, intersect operator and except. With the same example, take the same example, write all the queries and finally mention, just replace the operator with the relevant operator. That's all, the work will be done. Hope the concept is clear. Thank you very much.